We're back in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. This is the ESL India Premiership 2018. Wubba dub dub. Okay, after that, Rick and
Yeah.
Morty. How would I say? What's the word? I always forget these important words, dude. Yeah, Rick and Morty outburst. Thank you, Manoj. Super Excel. Gola.
Fantastic game in Counter Strike.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Did not go to overtime as I thought it would,
Okay.
but sure, can do,
Well,
can do,
it works
can do.
for me as long as DOTA starts on time.
Chalega,
Yeah.
chalega. Dota today, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be
Yeah.
between Reckoning Esports and Cullies. So let's quickly start off with the introductions here. Let's start off with
Definitely.
Cullies. All right, that's Team Cullies for you, ladies and gentlemen. Stupendous team there.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the efforts they put in their games. I like the eclectic picks they have. I like this team.
Yeah, I mean, even though they are a small town team and we call them the underdogs, they are sitting fifth on the board as of now. They secured 15 points for themselves. They played 9 games. They won 5 and lost 4. Now, they already played against Signify. They played against RG Titan. So that's where you have these very major losses coming in. But apart from that, this team is performing exceedingly well. The only thing I feel that could be a worry for them is they are very hero-centric. They got to get their kind of picks to be able to perform to full caliber. And I have a worry that if Reckoning Esports have studied this team in detail, they would know which heroes to ban, and that could in turn cause Cullies to maybe take this game in a negative way, and maybe put the next loss for themselves on the board.
Alrighty then. Let's quickly take a look at the opposition here. Reckoning Esports. All right, that's Reckoning Esports for you,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. Pretty interesting team there.
Yeah, they were sitting second for quite a while on the board, and now they sit third. Of course, RG Titans and Signify taking the first 2 slots, of course, on the leaderboard, and 100% chance of being into the land finale. Now, Reckoning Esports on the other end, they're sitting with 21 points. They have played 10 games. They have won 7, lost 3, which also put them into that zone where they will definitely also make it to the land finale. I'm hoping to see whether Cullies could move on from the 5th spot and go higher. They still have a few more games left in their box, so that means that they have the chance of really, taking it the other step ahead and being the first team from Bangalore to make it to the ESL India Premiership Master League Grand Stage.
All right, the draft is live. We've already seen our set of bans and picks come up.
Yeah.
I'll run you guys through the bans first. Reckoning Esports have banned the Earth Spirit, Phoenix, Razor, Monkey King, and Lifestealer. Whereas the Cullies have banned the Night Stalker, Banshee, Sand King, Gyrocopter, and Luna. Now we have had 2 picks already. In fact, 5 picks already. 2 picks in favor of Reckoning Esports, who picked up a Reshtrack and an Axe, whereas Cullies have picked a Nyx, Larda, and Skyrath.
The interesting part about Cullies is that recently they even played a game where they played the IO, and I think that's the first time I saw an IO in the ESL, which I was hoping to see in today's matchup, but it's already certain here that their 2 supports and their offlaners are being picked up. We have the Nyx and Skyrath, which fare really well. Of course, they would have opted to go for the Earth Spirit and the Phoenix as the first 2 pickups, but Reckoning have already banned them out. Also, they have banned out the Monkey King, which is again a favorite of Cullies. This also puts a question that a lot of choices, yeah. I mean, Reckoning Esports on the other hand, they've gone with a very simple kind of pick, the Leshrac and the Axe being their choice, which tells me that their offlane is secure with the Axe. They have the Leshrac, also the Clockwork to catch off that Skyrath Mage and Nyx Assassin and fights. Of course, Reckoning Esports will have to invest a little bit on their Sentry Wards, which may put them on the lower end of the net worth in the early stages of the game. But I think as this game goes later on, they have a much better chance. While Cullies on the other end, wow, they're moving fast with this draft. The OD gets picked up in the mid lane, and there are very few heroes that fare really well against the OD. Viper being one of them, of course, who hasn't been banned. Also, the Lina could fare decently well against the OD. I would opt for Reckoning to mostly go for a Viper, so they have their tank completely sorted. Also, the Nyx Assassin could only take down the Leshrac then. There would nobody else he could really affect on the map, which could work in turn for favor of Reckoning Esports. But for now, they have their fourth pick, and they're going to enter their reserve time. They're mostly going to pick up their mid hero for now. I could also see them mostly opting for something that was more conventional, like maybe even the Shadow Fiend as an example. But late game, that could work for them. Early game, I'm a little doubtful. But they're going to take some time here. Luna, of course, getting banned, and Gyro getting banned there from Cullies. Meanwhile, we see a very systematic draft. I like the way Cullies is picking up this time. They do still have... I thought they're going to go for the Invoker, which works well for them. But it's going to be the Wind Ranger now getting picked over there by Reckoning Esports. Now, she fares decently well against the OD. Also, with the Axe and the Leshrac, she will get those perfect shackle shots on minimum 2 heroes, which basically sets up the gang for them. Also, the Clockwork and Leshrac as 2 supports indirectly means that one person is going down. And I hope to see how the Sladar is going to perform in this matchup, because he will need to really get that early blink dagger. Also, Cullies have to make sure that they have a lot of tank on their side, because other than the Sladar, I don't see them really picking up another tank. So it's all going to go down to the last pickup, which is going to be their carry, who indirectly also will have to be the person in the front lines. Now, in a lineup like this, I could also opt to say that the Spectre could fit in there for Cullies, provided that Reckoning Esports gives Cullies the time to kind of get that farm up and running on the Spectre. But like we had a discussion the other day, I mean, the Brewmaster also could be a choice that both the teams could work with. Lots of choices, yeah.
No, Void's been banned.
Void's being banned.
Void's been banned as the final ban for Cullies there. Reckoning Esports are pondering over the final ban there. We'll be moving to the final pick session after this, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be pretty interesting about the fact that...
It could be a Luna. I mean, they could ban...
Luna's already banned.
Luna's already... Oh, there you go. Luna's already banned, so...
Phantom Lancer is getting banned by Reckoning. They are going to pick their final hero now, anytime.
And it's going to be a carry, and it has to fare well with that Axe and the Wind Ranger and the Leshrac. I could also scream out and say a Drow Ranger could work for them, because they have 3 ranged heroes and they have the Axe to kind of tank up and take in everything. Also, the Drow Ranger fares decently well against the OD in a long span of time, because she doesn't really need the kind of mana to go up against that hero. But it also has to be tanky, because they have a Nyx and a Skywrath Mage. So Reckoning got to be a little careful on what they decide to go as their last pickup, because they have the tank, but they don't have that complete burst, and they don't have the split potential compared to Cullies at this point, because Cullies have that lot of 5v5 fights, and Cullies is really good with their 5v5 fights. So, but they are playing a draft that they have not really played before that well. And I'm hoping to see whether Cullies decide to go for a Kunkka, because they have played the Kunkka before as a carry and even in the mid, and it's fared well for them. So I'm hoping to see whether that's the choice that they go with. But for now, it's going to be Reckoning making the choice. They could opt to go for the Terrorblade. Of course, I have a few doubts on that one. The Anti-Mate's still one of my favorites, but I doubt they're going to go with that. Of course, big bans coming out there on all the carries. Most of the carries getting banned here. But they got... I'm trying to think of an obvious pickup that we have missed out on. You know, sometimes we look at the draft and we're like, what could it be? And then you'll see the most random pickup out there and you'll be like, all right, that was a good choice. And it's a choice that they made. But 5 seconds on the reserve clock, Reckoning eating up all the time they have. And 1 second. And what's it going to be? It's going to be a Slark.
Slacky.
Good pick. A good pick by them. They can evade that Nyx Assassin. They can evade the Skywrath Mage, which indirectly means the Slark is going to be feeding off that Skywrath Mage. So he's got to be super careful on how he's going to be entering these fights. He'll have to go into items where basically he can just survive.
As long as the Slark lands the pounce correctly.
I think he will. I mean, once... I mean, those are just like the basics. Like, you just got to know how to land that bounce.
Well, we have a Visage coming in as the final pick for Cullies there.
All right. Very unconventional, actually, not even unconventional draft coming in there from Cullies. The Visage, of course, being a beautiful pick, good armor, very resistant. But I am not seeing the end game for Cullies. I see them having a good early game. I see them having a decent mid game. But once we hit the late game, that's where the Slark and the Wind Ranger get really active on the map. And even if they don't want to take the 5v5 fights, they can opt to just split push this game. And that choice Reckoning Esports have, but Cullies don't. So they got to play their draft on point to be able to get out the same momentum that they're looking to have in this game.
Alrighty then. That's the draft for
Yes.
you, ladies and gentlemen. And this is going to be a pretty interesting game. Reckoning Esports and Cullies, both of them good in their own spheres. Like you said, 5v5 man
Yeah.
fights are pretty sorted when it comes to Cullies lineup, and Reckoning Esports are not to be, reckoned with that well.
Yeah. Also, they're
So
faring really, really well. I mean, this if they do win this game, it's their 8th victory.
who thought a little bit of
Who
trigger
thought?
can do so much?
Exactly.
Can do so much for a team. I will wholeheartedly take the entire what is the word for it? Commendation for it, for this amazing show of play by Reckoning Esports. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
The
they
team's
play
good. The
great. They
team's
play
good.
great Dota
Yeah,
out there.
they play good Dota
Also,
there.
I like the way that they studied Cullies before coming into the matchup. So I've seen a lot of teams that just don't study your opponents, and then you end up giving them things that they're really good at. But Reckoning, even though they sit so high on the board, they do not consider any team
Homework
lesser
is
than them.
easy.
Yeah, homework is easy.
Sorry, homework is necessary. Why am I saying
Yes.
homework is easy? What is wrong with me, dude?
Homework has never been easy.
Homework is necessary. Homework is
Yes.
necessary. All right, so we'll head off into the game and see what's in store for us.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to the ESL India Premiership. My name is Vivek. With me is Floki, and we've got Cullies facing off versus Reckoning Esports. Should be a fun match. Cullies looking rather good in their match yesterday versus Alpha. More than anything, it was Alpha looking a little out of sorts. The draft. I mean,
Yep.
I was looking at it in chat, but it's unconventional. Is this the four-position clockwork with the Leshrac? Huh.
Yeah, it is. It is a 4-position clockwork with a 5-position Lesh. Somewhat greedy if you ask me for Reckoning, because they need a hero that can fight at level 1, because you just look at all these heroes on the side of Cullies, they're gonna have a hard time being zoned out of the lane.
They can. I
Clockwork
think both
can't
these
zone.
supports can. I mean,
Ye-
with the supports that you got up against, I think Clockwork can just start battery and run at Skyrath if he
Yeah,
catches him
but
out of position.
that's the thing, right? Skyrath is a pretty speedy guy, and he also went for concussive shot level 1, so he's gonna have an easy time kiting Clockwork. And also the fact that there's probably gonna be a Sladar in the off lane means that Sladar can come and crush, halt his advance. And Clockwork has a hard time zoning out heroes like Sladar, unless he has more regen than them. In this case he does, but you also have to think about the fact that if he goes Power Cogs to zone, he won't have any decent kill potential, and if he goes Battery Assault first, he's gonna be running on a long cooldown.
Right.
So overall, I look at the draft and there are a few problems for Reckoning. One is that the Slark pick isn't entirely the best. There are lots of ways of dealing with the Slark on the side of the Cullies. There's also the fact that if Visage gets a very good head start early on, he's going to start pushing and Cullies can start 5-manning, and Slark is not the best hero against 5-manning.
Right. It's also worth noting that Arcane Orb cannot be dispelled by Dark Pact. So those Arcane Orb stacks are going to stay on to Dot. He's going to get dumber. And I think Fishes don't have too much in to begin with. At least Slark doesn't.
Yep. The ecosystem never really favored those fishes there.
Yep. But they're supposed to be brain food at the same time.
Yeah.
Level 1 concussive shot, not a fan of this actually. It's look at its cooldown. Like, what does it really offer in the lane? I mean, maybe
Not
if you're running a
much.
tri lane, it gives you that extra bit of advantage in terms of positioning. Like the concussive shot can slow down whichever hero it clips upon, and then you can probably try and run in sprint or run in an impale. But at level 1, the Skyrath with concussive shot leveled up offers very little, honestly, in the laning phase.
Yeah, but I think
I think he saw the clockwork and he just put his point into concussive shot. The plan was to go for a kill, but clearly HN6 and you can't beat it, didn't get the memo.
I checked Skyrath's build before he actually even spotted Clockwork. So he did go concussive shot
Okay.
before he spotted him out. I think the main reason for getting concussive shot is because it's a position 5 Skyrath, not a position 4 Skyrath. Position 4s usually have items like the Null Talisman to boost up their Arcane Bolt damage a slight bit. It also means they can cast 1 or 2 Arcane Bolts more in the lane, which is essentially why you see those kind of Skyrath mages go for this Arcane Bolt level 1. But
Okay.
this is more of a setup based Skyrath mage at level 1. He
Right.
has the concussive shot. He's mostly going to be helping out his Nyx to get his stun off, or help out Sladar get his stun off.
Right.
And then you can just follow through with right clicks and stuff, and whatnot from the side of Cullies.
Cullies are also doing something that's very complexity, or at least old complexity. Z-Freak and Moo, they were kind of flexible about what the 4 and the 3 role mean. If you look at the Slaughter and the Nyx, they're both itemized for farm priority in some sense. So I'm not really sure who the offlaner is. Both of them have start shields and regen. If anything, HN6 has a little bit more regen on his Slaughter. But so I'm assuming it's going to be him on that 3 position and maybe the Nyx on the 4. What I'm not sure of is why there's a Visage casually chilling bot.
I don't know much either. I do think HN6 is the carry, but this is a carry Sladar. I'm super
Exactly.
confused.
HN6 played mid earlier on. So I think with our Visage and Karat the supports and Nyx the offlane and HN6 TPs to the safe lane. No, he's queued up a smoke. I don't understand. Angela, I mean, I honestly, I don't envy your job because none of us would be able to call out which hero is playing what role here.
Yeah, I agree. I think the one thing you can sort of maybe rely on is that Sladar has a smoke queued up, so he's probably a support, which means it's gonna be a core Visage, a core Sladar, a support Sladar, a core Nyx, and a core OD.
A support Slada, a core Nyx, and a core OD.
Yeah, so basically Sky and Sladar are supports.
Anyway, you said these supports can't fight at level 1, but they are trying to. They've got the Lightning Storm, they've got the Bounce, they're going to try and bring down HN6 down bottom. And at level 1 Floki, that concussive shot, if you're not using it offensively, offers very little.
Yep. I mean, unfortunately, it was just Zeal leaving his lane, and that just opens up the window of opportunity for Reckoning to just go forward and find the kill on the Sladar. Early on, Sladar doesn't have a lot of ways of dealing with heroes running at him. He's somewhat okay because he has Stout Shield and 4 base armor, but 3 heroes hitting him is a bit too much.
Okay, so I've finally figured it out. I mean, I've been watching Cullies. I've seen Falling Slowly play both the support and the core role. So Falling Slowly is the core here, bottom. And Slada and Skyrath are the 2 supports.
Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense.
And I think I like how they're running it because Visage, once he gets Soul Assumption, really excels in these tri-lanes. I mean, if they play this right, Falling Slowly is going to find himself a lot of kills down bottom. And that's where he's going to find his farm from. But, the skill build. Gravekeeper's Cloak? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea in all honesty. I think the Gravekeeper's Cloak is somewhat essential on the Visage, but looks like he's going to get gone upon here.
Yeah.
He's going to be okay, it seems like, and that's Clockwork dropping in terms of HP, Battery Assault on cooldown. You're happy if you're falling slowly. So the thing about Gravekeeper's Cloak is that you ideally want it early on Visage, in the Visage or Visage, whatever you like to call him, in these tri-lanes sort of, because if you get gone upon, you're going to have those layers to protect you. And usually early on, it's really hard to take down the Gravekeeper's Cloak layers if you have decent enough damage to bring it out. You need to deal more than 50 damage in one hit to take down one layer of Gravekeeper's Cloak. Maybe hard to find early on.
Yeah. The thing is, doesn't have much kill potential, and he's just gonna end up falling here. Okay, I'll tell you why I wasn't too happy with that skill build. Okay, it's primarily because of how Soul Assumption works, and it's primarily how Visage has been run in the past in tri-lanes. Back around TI2, TI3, Visage was a really popular support because a lot of teams were just running tri-lanes, and Soul Assumption, you just build up so many charges in a tri-lane that is ridiculously good. I think Fly loved playing it, EGM played it every now and then. There was definitely a lot of Visage in the tri-lane kind of action, and he's actually ditched his tri-lane because he hasn't. I don't know if Cullies had a plan to put Visage in the tri-lane and find kills, or if they just wanted him to be in the tri-lane and I don't know what he's looking. Now he's put a point in his soul assumption, or rather, grave chill, and
Yep.
it's
It's weird.
so I mean, for the lane that he started out in, I question his skill build. For the lane that he's gone to, this is somewhat acceptable, but he's only going to start finding farm after he hits 6. I mean, anyone who's tuning in, anyone who has access to role-based matchmaking, I insist that you pick up Visage as a support and go to a tri lane and just see what happens. Ideally, an aggressive tri lane. It's a lot of
Yep.
fun.
And I mean, I think you spoke about it, man. Like, I think you just got the hammer on the coffin here for Cullies. It's the fact that they're not aggressively tri-laning with the Visage. They're just dual laning here, and as a result, they're getting run over by this tri-lane of
Right.
Leshrac and Clockwork. Leshrac and Clockwork together, now that I think about it, I mean, it's not the best, but against this lineup, it sort of works because
Yeah.
Visage doesn't deal too well with heroes running at him early on.
Yeah.
Especially in the first few levels. You want at least level 3, level 4 before you can start fighting, unless you have really strong supports, which they do. They have Skyrat, and Sada is fairly tanky and hard to bring down, but Skyrat itemized like a position 5, and as a result, it doesn't offer too much damage at level 1 with the Arcane Bolt. As a result, Cullies' offensive potential in this aggressive tri-lane became really limited, and I think that's probably what you can trace it down to for Cullies. I mean, that's probably the reason why Visage has been dying so much. Maybe if this guy stays bottom, maybe if he gets a few points on Arcane Bolt.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't run their lane the way it's meant to be run. So I think every aspect of laning is extremely crucial what you do in the first 2 minutes. I mean, sure, you stressed on it yesterday, Lina versus SF. You said that's a matchup the Lina should win. You spoke of the block and how it meshed up the lane yesterday for Alpha versus Cullies. But just like Co's, supports have very specific things that they need to do early on. And when you're running a tri lane, you gotta go with the plan. And clearly, Cullies, they haven't thought too much about the tri lane. The 1 point in concussive shot, okay, you taken it, you play defensive, you try and hit level 2, he's hit level 2. And the problem is what are the Skyrath and the Slaughter really going to do now?
Yep. I think also the question is that, like, what is Zeal really accomplishing in the mid lane? Because Windrange is just doing fine. She has 15 creeps, she's outlasting the OT. So the Zeal being mid is not making a difference here for AST. He's just
Right.
lasting away freely with the power shot. And he still has the wind run, so he
So,
can't just run away if OT starts hitting him.
I think I'm going to pin this again to skill build. You want to send Skyrath mid, sending Skyrath mid is great. You just throw out the Arcane Bolt and you're not drawing creep aggro. You can throw it from far away. It's cheap. It's almost always available. But if you come to lane with concussive shot, what are you going to do? Throw out concussive shot, which barely tickles. And then what? I think him staying mid, he's actually done more harm than good because he just stood mid and leached EXP. I understand sometimes as a team, you might want to take a call to leech EXP. Now he's got Arcane Bolt, but the win range is level 2 with 2 null talismans. So she's just probably going to turn towards the Skyrath and start hitting away on the Skyrath if the Skyrath is out of position.
Yeah, exactly, and because like you don't have any items like the Null Talisman, you went for this more regen-oriented build with the Clarity. I mean, even at level 1, you could have come out ahead on trades with the Arcane Bull, but now it's sort of impossible because...
But
like
not
you
with the
mentioned,
concussive shot.
Definitely not with the concussive shot.
It's not something that helps you, Harris.
Yep.
I'll tell you what it is. It's like going mid as a Bane, hoping to help your mid laner, and you've gone mid with Brain Sap.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, like, a Nightmare would have still made a bit more sense because you can at least right-click the enemy or set up an
You can
arrow.
use it to make sure he doesn't deny his range creep. You can use it to make sure he doesn't get a range creep. Nightmare is at least useful, but Brain Sap at level 1. Sure, it's pure damage, but it's not going to stop the enemy mid laner from lane.
Exactly. Little surprised by ASD's decision to pop Sal there. Maybe he had.
You know what,
few more hits
Floki,
in him.
and
I
even
think
our
Zeal is dead.
observer. Yeah, exactly. I told you this. He walks mid now. ASD has 2 null talismans.
And he has 0 armor. I mean, he has no items in his inventory. Clockwork, though, is spotting this out.
What's going on down bottom? Clockwork actually looking towards HN6, has the battery assault, and HN6 will fall.
And this is what happens when you just run a dual lane against a tri lane. You get run at, and there's nothing you can do because there are 3 heroes running at you while you only have 2.
Yep.
If you really
Were you looking at the Visage?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. I'm looking at mid though because the Fido's moved mid. And he's just trying to do his thing. Can't really do too much. ASD will have his 5-minute shrine. Doesn't even really need it. He's got his bottle and his salve being sent over to him on his courier. But yeah, I think it's just a really weird laning phase so far from Cullies. And you know what? We're pinpointing all these minor errors. But 4 minutes in a 2000 net worth advantage, considering that bounty runes don't even spawn every 2 minutes, is a lot. These mistakes have cost Cullies. And down bottom, HN6, giving away a couple of stacks towards the Slug.
Yeah, and Slark having a good start this game is so bad for Cullies because this is the one hero you'd make sure you don't want to get farmed to. You draft entirely around him, but suddenly you actually end up feeding him 2 kills, and as a result he gets a Shadow Blade a little earlier than you expected, and he starts killing all your heroes, and your draft has fallen apart completely.
Right. And
So
I like how Reckoning are running the lanes. I mean, I think Zafito moving top, it might seem really pointless, but look, he's helped the Slug out enough. Slug is going and picking up bounty runes without any contest, which I'm strongly against. I mean, you yourself said it. The value of these bounty runes is actually more than it was earlier on.
Yep. I mean, it's almost as good as, well, I mean, in the mid game, it's about as good as 2 hero kills.
It's
and
free good. It's free gold. I mean, you want it.
It's free gold, and like also the fact that you end up denying those bounty runes to your opponents means there's even a bigger net worth advantage. Well, Dot does have a salve, so he's just gonna salve back up. Think he's gonna need a support to be with him until at least he hits his 6, so that he can have the Shadow Dance region kicking in every single time he's not in front of creeps. And Lesh is gonna do exactly that. Yeah, he just needs to stay bottom for a bit. And maybe he can get a pull, maybe he can find himself boots to work with. 3 is gonna be Zafito who's gonna be doing all the roaming for Reckoning.
Yeah, look at mid though. ASD with the focus fire just running straight at Rizal. Ouch.
Yeah, that certainly hurts, and ASD is gonna be okay because he's a wind range with a power shot. Well, Rizal has to be careful. ASD, he can.
Up top, we have a little bit of action up top, falling slowly, being dived upon. Has the slow. Will try and set up here for a crush, and Wolfhav might end up falling. He's moving into the trees, doesn't have a TP. He's got 3 mangoes, a ring of health, and a dream, and falling slowly. Gets the battle hunger off him with that little bit of CS onto the Radiant Creep Wave, but Wolfhav might just end up falling. No stick, no wand. He's done for.
Yeah, HN6 slightly lead on the stun there. I don't think he moved over his mouse to the Slytherin Crush indicator to see how big of an AoE it has. Could have found it here somewhere in the trees if you're seeing what I'm drawing.
No. Wait. I don't know. Mr.
I mean,
Yard. Okay, I mean, I think it's good to just forewarn chat a bit. We are, I mean, it's 3 of us trying to coordinate together to give you the best camera observing experience possible. So it's a fine dance, and every now and then we might go a bit off. So do excuse us. But yeah, Kunal's got us. It's really not Kunal, but that's just a name in game. Anyway. 4K net worth lead again, not Kunal. Definitely not Kunal. It's actually, yeah, it's Priya on the observer control, and she's taking good care of us.
Yeah. Well, Zafito, he's still roaming 7.5 minutes in clockwork level 3. Not too bad, but maybe you want to do slightly better if you're going early on. And looks like I am the bad
Shackle?
luck for Rizal.
He doesn't have shackles, okay.
Oh, okay, this is weird. So Dot TP'd in as well on a Slark in the mid lane. It's without a Shadow Blade. Not too sure why.
I mean, it's really not the end of the world for him. In the sense that he's not missing too much CS. He's actually gone into the jungle. So he's actually giving over the lane to Leshrac, which is interesting. They're prioritizing farm on the Leshrac, but up top, Zafito will end up following the familiars doing their thing. HN6 looking for the crush, will not find it.
Wolfhav, he has a ring of health at 3 mangoes. This axe, he's not dying anytime soon.
And he's got a Vanguard.
Now he's got a Vanguard, exactly. Falling slowly though, he has his familiars, but familiars at level 1 don't deal the best amount of damage. He's trying really hard to get this tower down, but it's gonna be a difficult task. And against an axe too with a Vanguard.
Ouch. HN6 just walking a bit too close. Fortunately, he doesn't end up falling. He's looking to TP with that battle hunger upon him. The familiars, yeah. Zafito's going to farm them up. That's a lot of gold. And that Battle Hunger will secure that one last familiar. But yeah, 9 minutes in, a 4,000 net worth advantage. It's not coming from purely the bad laning choices that Cullies have made. It's also coming from the fact that Slark is doing really well. Wind Ranger is winning mid hard, and this is with Skyrat just babysitting the OD.
Yep.
I think what you want to do if you're Cullies is just get some farm, get a little bit of EXP. Ideally, get that Nyx's level 6, and then probably try and set up for kills across the map. That's your way back.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat it. Has picked up his level 6 now that you mention it, and he could look to rotate soon. Ideally, you want to rotate towards top or mid. I mean, either of those lanes is fine.
Look at this. Look at the contest for the top dire bounty room. Leshrac walks a bit too forward. Now the Ancient Seal upon him. He hasn't got a stun, but the cogs are there. They'll turn towards Zeal. Zeal will try and bring down the Leshrac, but the cogs in the split earth, along with that cog pushback, might be enough. One last auto attack. Leshrac doesn't miss uphill, and world favorite is here. Nyx hit his 6. Moosh top finds himself a kill. But not the most important one. World favorite, he's there with the call, setting up for ASD. The shackle's perfect, the dunk off the mark. The spike carapace though might buy time, but level 2 battle hunger might be enough. And with the rocket flare, Zafito gets the kill for himself in ASD. He's chasing for more. He's got the face boots and the focus fire. Look at him just spiriting and dancing around. Zeal will get the kill with ease.
I mean, this is just Wind Ranger, man. Early on, super annoying with the focus fire and wind run. You can't hit her and she just bounce away at you.
I mean, if you're a support that has like no disable, you're just done for.
Exactly.
I mean,
like
she's just gonna run you down.
you can just stand and accept your death or try and TP out, but she then gets that 0.75 second shackle shot off just to cancel it and continue pounding away at your face.
Yep.
Ryzel has not had a particularly good time in this mid lane, and he's trying to make the adjustments. He's getting himself a 4-star first, but even that's not going to make sure he has a good time against Wind Ranger.
I think one thing that we got to look at is when this OD was picked up in the draft.
He was 4th picked.
Yeah, I think he was picked before the Wind Ranger, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, people still think that OD is a very strong hero this patch, but now that lanes are entirely 1v1, he's
situational.
A lot.
Yeah,
he's
down bottom.
Definitely.
Dot dropping low on the Slark. I saw that. That was a Vendetta into an Impale, but Dot with the Shadow Dance tries to run. And finally, that early point in concussive shot pays off for Zeal as he gets the kill for himself. That's gold. And that's what Skyrat needs. I mean, Zeal would like to get those arcane boots so that he can be more of a force in these fights. Zafito's hit 6. And Etchin 6, I mean, he thinks this is still the safe lane. But 12 minutes in, no part of the map is really safe for the Slaughter, and this is just going to delay his Blink Dagger even more. He's caught in the guards, he's going to get pushed.
So he can run.
Yeah, but Zafito's got the hook. No, he hasn't got mana for the hook shot. He's got 1 charges, will not pop it. But they'll turn towards falling slowly. The Visage trying to juke with that extra movement speed from the Grave Chill will not touch the Split Earth. And World Fab with the call, looking for a kill. The Impale is there though, and that might buy time for falling slowly. He's still got the Battle Hunger upon him, and that Split Earth, perfectly done by the Leshrac, will set up for a kill onto the Visage. The familiars will chase him down, but I'm looking at the axes being run down here. Gets the call off before the crush, and H6 might fall, but fortunately for him, Wolfab didn't have mana for the Culling Blade, and that Rocket Flare wasn't enough. They trade a Visage for an Axe who has a Vanguard. I think Reckoning are going to be absolutely okay with this.
Yeah, especially if they find
just getting a little carried away. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. So, a couple of things happened last fight. There was really good familiar marker from the Visage. He blocked the hook shot from the side of the Clockwork. So even after popping 1, he didn't find it onto Sladar. So the Sladar survived a little bit more. Gets the crush off, he gets the damage amp off on multiple heroes, and that allows his team to get a few kills.
Look at this, Dot. He finds his Shadow Blade, but the Wind Ranger will not connect on the Shackle. And I think that Sentry Ward will allow the OD to live.
Yeah, somewhat of a... I mean... This is a really good ward. Whoever planted it from the side of Cullies, they figure that Slug would have Shadow Blade, and the first place he's gonna go is mid. As a result, Ryzel, he ends up surviving because of that sentry ward. It's already done its job.
Yeah.
The good thing though for the side of Reckoning is that they have a Slug, so they can always figure out where the wars on the side of the enemy team are. This gives you a huge vision advantage over Cullies.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely a pain in the ass. I mean, if you got a 4 position Zeus on the enemy team, That guy, once he picks up his arcane boots, heck, if he's just even roaming with a couple of clarities, he's gonna keep dewarding you, and you've got to
Yep.
think of really innovative wards.
This is a time when you see position 5 supports. I mean, this differentiates the good ones from the great ones.
Yeah,
Heroes
definitely.
like Slark and Zeus.
Leshrac in no man's land. They've got the concussive shot and the mystic flare, or rather the ancient seal. There's the mystic flare under the Nyx. He's gonna survive, but Zeal will not survive for too long, and you can't beat it. The power shot not enough to bring him down. Dot with the shadow dance will find the kill. This was Cullies looking to find a pick up themselves, and at the end of it all, they lose their offlaner and they lose the Skyrath mage. Time and time again, falling slowly. He's just been looking to find this tier 1 tower up top, but I'm not sure if it's worth it.
I mean, this tier 1 tower top is gonna have a very hard time falling, but now that he has the HOTD, it's gonna fall. I think he was trying to take it a bit too early on as a Visage. With familiars, they don't do the most damage until you have HOTD up, because that gives you more attack speed.
Right.
Look at
Look
this
at this
smoke
though. Reckoning, they've smoked up, they might bump into HN6. HN6 gets the crush, but doesn't see it on the cogs. They've got the mid-stick flare. Ancient Seal, damn, I always get confused. But they'll find themselves at HN6. They've got the familiars running down Zafito. He's got the corrosive haze upon him. He's going to survive for a while, but here comes Ryzel. Cleans up with that arcane orb, finds his first kill of the game, and Cullies. They'll take what they can get. They trade a 4 position for a 4 position.
Yep. At the end of the day, it is still a 4 position for a 4 position, a good trade there. Visage slightly missed microing there. He almost had the last hit off on the clockwork, but it's all the more better for Cullies because Ryzel came in and picked it up, so I guess that worked out for them. Now, Dot, he's had a really good start on his Slark, and as a result he's picked up this early Shadowblade, but it's not doing as much as he hoped it would. But maybe with the Echo Saber he can start going around the map, roaming and looking for kills.
That mid though, Zafito, once again with the cogs. Prepping for a kill onto the OD. The split out, perfectly done. World Fave comes in looking for the kill but won't find it. Reveals his Blink Tagger, which was...
Yeah, that's actually a really good Blink reveal. I think that's the best Blink reveal you can find this game.
Dot, I mean, he's found you can't beat it, but he might be with his own life. He got both the Ancient Seal and the Mystic Flare this time around, and Zeal will clean up with a double damage rune.
Yeah, this is the mark
They lose the mid-tier 1. They find a Slug. I still think this isn't enough for Cullies, and they're going to lose the Nyx as well. Not really sure what happened. But Axe happened, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Axe.
so here's the thing, right? Playing against a Slark, you have to always memorize the cooldown of Dark Bag, and you have to see when he's using it. You also have to think like a Slark. You need to figure out when he's using it.
They've caught Zeal. The call is there. Valhunger as well. The cogs just for good measure. But world favorite, he'll find the kill and he'll find the tier 1 tower. I mean, falling slowly, he's trying his best. He's looking to find a trade across the map. He's looking for the mid tier 1, but TPs are coming in. And this won't be an easy tier 1 tower. While Reckoning Infinity, they're still prepping for a kill down bottom. ASD's got his Maelstrom complete. He's looking towards the Shadow Blade, which isn't something you see too often on the Wind Ranger. You'll occasionally see it in your pubs when there's that one irritating guy who has to prove that he can pull off unconventional builds. But you don't see it too often in competitive Dota.
Shadowblade Ricky?
Shadowblade Wind Ranger.
I mean, yeah, no, I was just talking about the unconventional
norm,
builds. Yeah.
Shadowblade Templar Assassin. Okay. Nyx might break the smoke, but have they got detection for the Nyx? Yeah, Zafito's holding on to detection. Good man. Good 4 position.
Yeah, but you can't beat it. He's on the completely opposite side of the map.
So
Fortunately for them, Cullies have read this. But have they really?
No, they haven't. Ryzel, he's walking towards a haste rune. His greed will get the better of him. Zafito goes in with the hook shot. The focus fire is there. He's got an Astral Zafito holding onto the cogs, but that's going to trap him in that Mystic Flare, and he might just end up falling. That's Zafito dead. They'll find themselves the OD. They've still got the Wind Ranger standing in ASD, doing work with that Maelstrom. Nearly got a double kill with that power shot. Zeal barely ends up surviving, but here comes falling slowly. With his summons, with that Alpha Wolf, will clear up on world favorite, the Shackles. The attempt. It was glorious to look at, but doesn't really result in too much, and they both line up for the birds, line up for a 2-man impale. They'll bring down the Leshrac, falling slowly and you can't beat it, teaming up and finding the kill that really matters. A Wind Ranger with a mega kill streak, just like that.
Yeah,
if you take a look at the net worth graphs, they've swung it back a fair amount.
Indeed. It was a 2-for-4 trade in the favor of Cullies there, so I think Cullies are going to be happy with it, especially because all the kills went to Visage. This means he can find his items even earlier. He's picked up the Solar Crest in the back of those kills. I think he's going to get himself probably an Ags or an Atos. Any of those items would be great this game. Preferably something that helps him control a bit more. Maybe, I'm not too sure what he gets this game. Not a big Visage player, but Axe wouldn't be too bad this game. Assault Cuirass wouldn't be too bad this game. Pipe wouldn't be too bad either.
I think you go for a sacrifice. Oh, look at this. The Centaur Conqueror down bottom. They've caught the Leshrac. They'll find him effortlessly. But Wolfab is there with the call. The Mystic Flare awaits him. The Impale is there as well. And with the Ancient Seal and that Magic Amplification, they're going to find themselves the Axe. OD walks in with the Arcane Orb. Cleans up on Zafiro. Dot in the midst of the Cullies lineup, all by himself with that Shadow Dance, looking for a kill. Cops a fair amount of damage from the Sandy's Eclipse, and more than anything, he's lost most of his mana. The Dust revealing the Wind Ranger, and this is why Floki, the Shadow Blade, is an unconventional and largely unsuccessful item to pick up on the Wind Ranger.
I mean, it was a bit of a waste of an investment because his Slark already has a Shadow Blade, so he's just going to get revealed every single time.
Exactly.
The same sentry wards that work for Slark will work for Wind Ranger.
Yeah.
Maybe you get better off getting a Blink Dagger. And I really wish more Wind Rangers did this, but they don't end up buying the Blink Dagger after the Maelstrom.
So I don't know. I think since Wind Rangers come back into the meta, there've been a few builds here and there. If anything, she gets picked more in India than she does outside anywhere else in the world. But the build earlier on was Maelstrom into Ags, or Maelstrom into positioning item into Ags. I don't think the Shadow Blade is the ideal positioning item for this game, just because so many things here aren't damage over time, and you should be able to get your blink off to stay away from the Slada, to dodge an Impale, to just get away from an Arcane Bolt. The blink does so much better.
Yep. Blink allows you to line up for shackled shots, and a good Wind Ranger player, if he gets a Blink Dagger, almost every other fight he can get himself a 2-man shackle.
Absolutely.
Look at Dot though.
Looking for a pick off all by himself. He's got the Shadow Blade. HN6 hasn't got a stake, but he's got a TP. And he almost nearly ended up falling. That power shot on Rocket Flight nearly on point, but Cullies wanted to turn around. The Impale is there. Slark without the Dark Pact might end up falling. The Mystic Flare not enough. You got a hook shot coming in. They're looking towards the Nyx Assassin. It's Zafiro man fighting Nyx in the cogs, but ESD. He'll find himself the OD. He'll find the Nyx, and with the Donk, Wolfab will find Zeal as well. They lose only the Leshrac, and they end up getting 4 Cullies. Thinking they had an opportunity, end up feeding away a lot of kills.
Fortunately for them, Slardar, he has his Blink Dagger finally, so this means that Cullies' fighting potential gets a lot better, but it might just be too little too late, because if they lose this mid-tier 2 tower, which I don't think they will, it's probably gonna make the Blink Dagger somewhat useless, because you want to have map control to make use of Blink Dagger.
Absolutely. You want to be able to move into places, have folks to back you up.
Yep.
He's lost his tier 2 tower up top. He's not losing the mid tier 2 at least.
He's also the primary counter initiation against Axe, so that's also something that's really important. If Axe just goes in along with, say, the Wind Ranger, you can just go in, get a 2-man crush, sort of reset the fight, and the Nyx can follow up and stuff. I think that's why the Slardar Blink is really important in this game, and they have it now. So they should look to try and bait out someone, and I don't know who it's going to be from the side of Cullies. Visage sounds like a good idea. Maybe you bait with him and just counter
Smoke and play it on the Visage?
Yep.
Okay.
You just send Visage through a lane, make sure there are 2-3 heroes backing him up.
I see you send his familiars. That's good enough bait, man. People usually, I mean, what's more believable? Visage pushing a lane all by himself for 2 familiars. I'd go for the familiars.
Yeah,
usually,
neither in all honesty, but
look at this. Now, the smoke's gonna break. They've got detection. I'm not sure. They're looking towards the Leshrac. He hesitates on the Impale. Doesn't get it, but the crush. Onto the Wind Ranger, and with the corrosive haze, they'll find themselves AHD. The Soul Assumption doing work. They find themselves Leshrac. One favorite, though, with that call, catching them all, setting up for Dot. And Dot, on cleanup duty, finds himself a triple kill. He's looking towards HN6, constantly disabling that blink. The familiar, looking to stun him up, and with the crush, they line up a 2-man Impale. They'll find Dot on the Slark and Zafiro. He's all by himself. Wants to run towards the shrine, but he's got familiars, a Nyx, and a Slardar chasing him down. Fortunately, though, he's got the cogs, and he's going to deal with these familiars first. HN6 goes in with the crush. The last man standing on the side of Reckoning Esports might just end up falling here as Zafiro. with that earn charge upon him, will fall.
Yeah, that fight looked really good for Reckoning, but Todd getting a bit too overeager there. He went in when he didn't have a lot of HP, and as a result, Nyx Assassin, he found the perfect two-man stun when Clockwork was just left to his own devices.
So I think a couple of smart things happened. They saw the Dark Pact, and just after the Dark Pact, I think there was a familiar stun. There was a familiar tailing dot all the way. That familiar set up perfectly. And look at this, Floki. That's Wind Ranger with a Shadow Blade. And she's spectating. She might find a kill though. Focus fire. Shows her back. Runs away. I think Wind Ranger's focus fire is a little bit like third person in PUBG. You're looking elsewhere, you're shooting elsewhere. It makes no sense. But that's exactly this Wind Ranger. Third person PUBG player. TPP PUBG.
Well, I am a Dota purist, so I don't really play those games. I have no clue what you're talking about. And what? Okay, it looks like Falling Slowly made a small mistake. He's dominated a creep that does nothing.
Yeah, literally. I mean, I was like, okay, sometimes people dominate these offbeat creeps. Like the Wild Wing Ripper gives armor. The Hellbear Smasher's friend gives you
attack
speed. Little bit of attack speed. I thought he gave armor as well. Anyways, that Wild Wing Ripper offers as much as a melee creep.
I mean, he offers even less than a melee creep.
It's got HP, so he can draw away.
It's got HP because of the Edge or TD. You're cutting the Wild Wing
exactly, because of the Edge or TD. They can draw away creep aggro when they're pushing for a tier 2. That's the plan here.
Hey man, I look, you don't want to hurt the Wild Wings' feelings, but let's just say it, melee creeps are stronger than Wild Wings.
Okay.
We all know where they lie in the dominance hierarchy.
You can't beat it. He's doing his job trailing Zafira, but Zafira's got a gem. I hope Cullies spotted that out. HN6 going in with the crush, lines up on the dot. He's got the Shadow Dance though, so he's alive. The bounce not ideal. He's looking to run, will make it out. Solar Crush upon him. Soul Assumption as well, but it's not enough. Wall favorite! 4-man call! Finds Zeal! And there's the follow-up from Zafiro. They're looking towards the Visage. The Visage, he's survived 1 too many fights and he's finally going to end up falling. HN6 moves towards the pit. He's got the Battle Hunger upon him. And with that little bit of damage coming up from the Diabolic Edict, he will fall. Dot went for the play of glory, went towards Ryzel, tried to man up first to the OD and ended up losing. Ryzel finding himself a kill onto the Slug, a kill that Reckoning shouldn't have really given away.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a clutch sanity as if I think it was just enough to kill the Slug. The good part about the last fight was though that World Favorite, he found himself a 4-man call that forced Cullies to split up sort of and play away from the axe. And as a result, you have OD taking a separate fight along against a Wind Ranger. Oh, speaking of Wind Ranger.
Yeah, that's his mana taken away.
Yeah, it's something really annoying as Wind Ranger. Playing against Nyx Assassin. It's always, if he finds a stun on you, it's actually somewhat bad. Nyx Assassin is a really good hero to play against Wind Ranger. It's mostly because of the mana burn and also the fact that if you can just stun her up during a wind run, you can render it useless. And usually when she focus fires and starts running at a hero, you can just sort of pop a carapace next to it, make the Maelstrom bounce towards you, then you stun her up and nothing she can do. Zafito's picked up a gem though, and I think this is probably going to be the big item for Reckoning.
He had it in the previous fight.
Oh, he did? Okay.
He did. I mean, I don't know if you remember how the fight began, but it was the Cullies tailing Zafiro, and Zafiro with the gem got the cogs off. And look up top, they're looking for more. They find the call, they're focusing Zeal, the crush is there, counter initiation like you mentioned. Zeal drops the Mystic Flare, but the Blade Mail doing so much work against him, and now Reckoning with the man advantage will go searching for more. You can't beat it. Highs has the Spike Carapace, but it's only delaying the inevitable. And with that Lightning Storm, they'll set up for the dunk. World favorite. I mean, he's been my favorite offlaner in a really, really long time.
Well, I mean, Cullies, not sure what the plan was.
They might
there.
find more.
Oh.
They might. What? Falling slowly. Why? Why?
What did he do?
I don't know. He was just all about. I don't know. So, I mean, he was killing illusions with his familiars as our observer tells us. HN6 gets caught out past his tier 2. I mean, no part of the map is safe and there's a Slark roaming around. So basically, I mean, my co-caster from last year who's retired, God bless his soul, CloudX, he had a word for this, a term for this. He called it garden gaming. He was just like with his team dead and with his team losing a fight so close by, he was just roaming around, killing illusions and setting up for another call.
Yeah, just having a good time as
Yeah.
you do in a garden. I get the analogy there. I mean, this is some sloppy plays coming out from both sides here. I have to say the Reckoning, they put on the game face and they're certainly starting to come back in this game. And I think it's mostly because of Wolfave. He's finding all these beautiful calls on his acts.
Yeah.
I think if there was an MVP at the end of this game, or at least for the first 30 minutes, I'd give the MVP to the Sax.
Absolutely. I think Reckoning, they played their lanes well. I think definitely the mistakes coming out from Cullies were costly, but more than anything, Reckoning, they've maintained the advantage that they found, kept the net worth going, and now Cullies, they look towards Roshan, and we know what World Favorite likes to do in small restricted spaces. Now there is a Centaur Conqueror, and Cullies have backed off from the pit. Reckoning reading that play, I'm not really sure how. I did see AHD throw a power shot there, and I think, oh yeah, it's this Radiant Observer one next to ASD, giving him all the vision that he needs. And Zafito is looking for that hook shot.
I mean, Zafito, he can find the hook shot, but he's gonna have a hard time bringing any of these heroes down. He really needs the follow-up with the Slark or the Wind Ranger, or maybe even the Lesh.
It's also, I mean, it's starting to become a hard game for the Skyrath Mage, right?
Yeah, Skyrath Mage, Odi,
I mean,
both of these heroes. With too much
exactly,
control
there's
for
the Mystic Flare, and that's like your biggest source of burst damage in a team fight. And with the 4-stars around on the side of Reckoning, it's going to be hard to really do any work with that Mystic Flare.
Yeah, a stray melee tried entering the pit to do some cheeky shenanigans.
I think even Falling Slowly knows that melee creeps are greater than Wild Wing Rippers. Dot might find himself a solo pick off here, sees Zeal on the Skyrath Mage, and I mean, Zeal is going to press his buttons and die, but that's 43 seconds without the Skyrath Mage. Reckoning, they're not the best at going high ground, but with the Focus Fire and the Diabolic Edict, they can do some work. You've even got this Observer coming out from Zafito. That could be real costly for Cullies. I mean, come on. You got a team going up high ground, 101, you drop a sentry. HN6 goes in, lines up a 3-man crush. No real follow-up. The call is there, catches the Nyx. Good defensive Astral. Buying time for the Nyx, but look at the tier 3 tower. It's melting. You can't beat it, trying his best, trying to burn away some mana here. But they've still got 2 siege creeps, and the Slark has had enough. Dot will go in, looks towards the Nyx, the crusher there from HN6, but ASD pops his BKB, looks to turn the hook shot, the Cogs. They've got the Visage inside the Cogs. They've lost the Aegis, but they might find themselves a kill on a Falling Slowly. The defensive Astral in the nick of time. The question is, will Falling Slowly manage to escape? The answer is no. Dot cleans up. The Shackle Shot not landing, but Dot, consumed by Bloodlust, will find himself the Nyx assassin. HN6 time and time again landing these crushes, and is going to net them the kill onto the Lesh track. But the cause on the side of Reckoning looking to run. AHD will just TP out. They find a tier 3, they lose the Aegis. What they don't want to lose is the feeder on the Clockwork, but Clockwork, he's missing his gem. Wait, where is the gem?
It's on Slark.
Huh?
The Slark had the gem for a while, he gave it over to Slark.
Okay, so the gem's still on Dot. Beautifully done there by Reckoning.
Yeah, there was a slightly bad fight for Reckoning. I mean, they had an Aegis, they should have gotten more out of the fight, but all they really got was a Nyx and a Visage. I mean, tier 3 tower, sure, but you want more structural damage. As a team that does not do high ground very well, you need to find a lot more from the back of that Aegis. I think it was partly just you can't beat it strolling away a bit too freely against the Slark. Can't really afford to do that because Slark can dispel Carapace and the stun with his Q, so please have to be careful. Your gem dropped in the base. You're right, Kunal, but there is... Okay, I mean, not Kunal, whoever the other person is. But the gem, there is another gem on to Dot. Not sure whose gem is that. Okay, that's Reckoning's own gem, and the gem in the courier was... Let's have a look. Wait, where's the gem gone? Okay, it's on the Wizard.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, Cullies have their own gem, and Reckoning have their own gem.
About time Cullies bought a gem.
Probably. Against a Slark and Wind Ranger, it's really good to have detection. But, well, the good thing about the last stage is what that they at least got a tier 3, so they can now take these outer shrines. Wind Ranger can do so without hesitation because of the Focus Fire and the Axe Scepter. A really low cooldown on Focus Fire, and you just go to the shrines, pound away. If you have your team backing up.
One thing that's worth noting about Reckoning Esports is that I mean, you can tell that this is a team that has been scrimming a lot or playing S5 a lot, because there's a certain level of discipline in them as a side. They play with a good amount of discipline. I think you casted that game of theirs versus ROG where they put up a tough fight.
Yep.
They're looking good. I think the support from a well thought of organization is really doing good for these 5 players. That structure really helping them out, and I don't know, this might be the new team to watch out for. I saw the game versus ROG. I remember both of us casted Cullies versus ROG, and
Yep.
I remember having a word with Claudex, and I said that, look, first place might be hard to contest for, but second place is wide open, and Dot just going in. He's going to find you can't beat it. The cogs are there. Not a single force staff to help out the Knicks. HN6 instead walks into the cogs, and that's going to set up for Zafido. But the power shot will find them the Knicks, and Dot latches onto the slaughter, finds himself that kill. BKB's being popped left, right, and center. The OD using his to run and falling, so he's got to be careful with his micro. Wants to keep his familiars away from himself so he doesn't line up for a shackle shot. World Fave goes in, drops the battle hunger. It's just these cores on the side of Cullies, and they should probably disengage. World Fave looking for the call. Will not get it because the concussive shot will cancel his blink. But that kill on the Skypath Mage really unnecessary. Reckoning they lose both HN6 as well as the Knicks, and they should have just backed off. I mean, Cullies, they lose both the Slaughter and the Knicks, and they should have just backed off, and instead they give away one more kill on his aid.
And the power of the Leshrac, making up for the lack of push on the side of Reckoning.
I love the Leshrac just for this reason. Go drop Edict, and taking
Take
towers is a
towers.
little bit easier.
I agree.
When you've got a retarded team of cores that won't hit buildings, you have a Leshrac at least.
Yeah, I mean it's never mind. So the thing is that the Sanity's Eclipse from Cullies, it missed completely. It didn't hit onto anyone. I think he was trying to do a clutch Sanities which hits multiple heroes, but Windrange had already BK beat,
Right.
and Axe had already BK beat. Slark was just out of the range of the Sanities. Also
Yep.
the fact that Slark had his BKB, I was a little surprised that he popped his Shadow Dance first over his BKB. I thought he would certainly go for the BKB first, because that's ideally how you want. I mean, you get that 10-second vulnerability, you take someone down, you start chasing another hero, and that's when Shadow Dance comes in. If there's any counter initiation during that period, you can just pop Shadow Dance and run away, but I'm not gonna question him. He did actually end up winning that team fight rather convincingly.
Yeah.
He got himself a Skadi. Now
It's-
against the Knicks, Skadi is somewhat of a bad item because of all the int it gives
Exactly.
you. Burns away your mana. Maybe Abyssal Blade was better this game because of that. But I think he will eventually get himself an Abyssal Blade. But looks like he's going for a soft disable in the form of the Orchid at the moment. Wants damage, it seems like.
You know what's an item I really like here for the Slug?
Nullifier?
No, Axe.
Okay. Axe, oh, okay. I
The-
mean, it's
you-
an item that does nothing for Slug, but it does a lot for his team.
Exactly, and that's how you go high ground. Dark Pact, chip away. I mean,
that's
come
not
on.
a bad idea. It's not.
That's
It's definitely
it's the
not a
only
bad
thing
idea.
Reckoning need to do, right? They just
It's
need
just
to
so
take
damn
building
cheesy
stuff.
though. Yeah, but it's I love the idea, but it's just so damn cheesy.
You know, but you know what? I mean, see, if Envy did it, we'd call him genius. Or there's at least a 50-50 chance we'd call him genius. But when you have so I don't think Skadi is an impactful item. I think
mean, this game
it's
definitely
okay. You're
not.
playing from ahead. You get stats. It's. I'm not saying it's a bad item to build on Slug, but hey, Axe gives you stats as well. It does.
Okay,
it
so
does.
Skadi gives you more stats than Axe. Okay, and I agree with that. And here's the thing about Skadi: it's really an item you want to buy when when the opposition team doesn't have a lot of damage to bring you down. If
Right.
they do have a lot of damage to bring you down, you want items like the Abyssal, so you can lock one hero down, prevent his damage, take him down before the fight starts, and that's one glass cannon out of the picture.
Right.
That's ideally how you want to play heroes like Slark and any sort of heroes that rely on these long extended team fights. I mean, this is not a Swen who can just go in, pop an Orchid, pop a Bloodthorn on someone and just start firing away, and you either win the fight or you either lose the fight on the back of that single initiation. This is a Slark. You want to go in and out of fights. Having an Abyssal Blade is a lot better than having a Skadi this game.
Zafido's been hitting these creeps hard. Can we just take a look at his KDA? His
Yeah.
KDA, I mean, sure, he has the highest assists on the map,
Yeah.
but I want to take a look at his CS actually.
He doesn't have a lot of CS, but the thing is...
I think assist gold is really underrated then.
Yeah, and also the fact that he's surviving almost every single team fight is the biggest factor of them all.
Yeah.
As a Clockwork, you don't typically survive all those team fights, but if you do, holy crap, do you get so much more annoying. And that's basically Clockwork players in a nutshell.
He's
Annoying.
he's going to become a real problem here for the side of the Cullies.
Yep. I think the main problem is going to be that if he finds a hook shot onto your Slada, he can't just sprint away. If he finds a hook shot onto your Visage, he doesn't have a 4-step, so he can't go out. If he finds... I mean, it's just all the heroes on the side of Cullies lack mobility in some extent. Nyx doesn't have a 4-staff, Skyrat doesn't have a 4-staff, Slada doesn't have a... Well, he has a 4-staff, so he's going to be okay, but Visage doesn't. And ideally in these team fights, you want to be using 4-staffs and stuff for extended range on heroes like Slada. You don't really want to be using it defensively. You can use it defensively, it's not a bad thing per se, but if you get the jump in onto Reckoning, that's probably going to be the fight you win as Cullies. You can't wait for Reckoning to come towards you.
Well, reckoning they are going to go towards Cullies. HN6 though, starting things off with a crush. Dot walks ahead, looks towards Zeal. Not really doing enough on the left track, will end up falling, but he's going to find Zeal in exchange. There's the feeder. You spoke of how Clockworks are irritating. He's going to hold HN6 in place. Wolfab will whiff on the call, but they will find themselves both supports.
Yep.
And both of them don't have buyback.
I mean, this is so important for Reckoning. They managed to find these 2 kills without buybacks. This is going to ensure that they at least get a melee set of frags. If nothing, they should at least go forward and test the waters and see if they have buybacks.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm quite sure if you pop a focus fire on the melee racks, those support buybacks will come out instantly.
Absolutely, and World Favorite as well as the Slark are going to keep them occupied. Look at that. World Fav goes in, gets the call, forces out a national. Now this could set up for something from the side of Reckoning, and it's going to set up for a hook shot. The Cogs will push back the next. BKB is being popped as well. Hurricane Pike allowing Ryzel to steal in, but not for long. World Fav with the call, making sure that the OD doesn't get too much free end. While Wind Ranger and Dot will team up and get themselves a free lane of Parix. Reckoning. I mean, they're pretty much just getting whatever they're wishing for here at this point.
Yep.
They're playing really well, actually. It's world favorite. The scores have been spot on. Good Dota coming out from Reckoning Esports.
Yeah, they certainly have seemed to gotten their head together around this game. The first few minutes did look a bit shaky, but they've just been on point ever since then. Slark, he don't know what did he commit to the Orchid? Okay, yeah, he's committed to the Blood Taunt, so he's committed to the Blood Taunt. There we go.
He's got the Blood Taunt complete, and Cullies, they're gonna pop a smoke of desperation. Now they're moving towards the pit. ASD will break the smoke. He's got an invis rune. The detection is there from HN6, but is the lockdown available? No, it isn't. The shackle shot and the focus fire coming out from the Wind Ranger. The splitter holding Zeal in place. It's a hard game for a Skyrath mage as ASD cleans up and finds himself a double kill. They're looking for more. They've got the Yule Scepter setting up for that split earth, and Nyx will end up falling. I think that was his own Yule Scepter really. Ryzel pushed to pop his BKB simply because of the hook shot coming out from Zafido, and ASD will run forward. The Hurricane Pike buying time, but not enough as Zafido from downtown latches onto the OD. ASD, he'll clean up for more and find himself the Visage. It's a full 5-man wipe here as Reckoning do not lose a single hero as they clean up the entirety of Cullies.
I think Cullies are done with this game. I mean, Visage, he just let his familiars die there.
Well, they've got buybacks on 3 heroes. It's the Nyx, the OD, and the Visage. All their calls. And
Visage doesn't have familiars though.
Yeah.
Another 23 seconds. That's really bad for Cullies.
Yeah, he's not buying back. I mean, it's just the OD and the Nyx who bought back, but they've got to do something. The hook shot is there, keeping the OD occupied. Fortunately, there's a good force staff to push the Fido into the fountain. Nyx goes in, lands the Impale, but Wolfab with the call, keeping the OD occupied, has that Blade Mail, and with the Bloodthorn, OD feeling money useless, forced to go back home. Mystic Flare doing a fair amount of work. Fido will end up falling. Ancient Seal controlling the left track, but Dot with the damage will clean up. The Ancient will fall, and Cullies, it's definitely not been a good day for them at the ESL India Premiership.
Yep. A lot of frustration there on the part of the mid laner. If I was Ryzel at this point, I'd pretty much be super pissed off because as a mid laner, you don't even feel your impact this game. Sure, you had a few saves. Sure, those were really good saves, but it didn't really translate into anything big, especially because you lost the early game, which you sort of relied on. Your aggressive dual lane didn't. Just a dual lane didn't work out for the side of Cullies either.
Yeah.
I think they should look back at the early game.
Tough game for Cullies. The lanes didn't work out. The one core struggled to have impact in the mid game, And they're going to end up losing this one. Reckoning Esports really looking solid here in the ESL India Premiership. That's it as far as the Dota 2 broadcast is concerned. My name is Vivek. With me is Floki. You can give us feedback at facebook.com/VivekCasting. You can find Floki at facebook.com/FlokiDota. We had Manoj Supergola observing this one for us. And I'm going to throw it over to the analyst desk. Angela and Wagish, it's all yours.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back again in the studio of the ESL India Premiership 2018 Summer Seasons' Masters League there. Reckoning Esports have gone ahead and won this game against Cullies. But a good fight given by the boys there.
Great fight. Actually, if we just have to put this in the first 20 minutes of the game, I think Cullies put up a great performance. They had their smokes on point. It was just that there was one player in this game who just played amazing Dota. And it's a great shout out to say that it was world famous. I think his name world famous? World Fave. Okay. He was playing the Axe and he was getting that call on 3 heroes constantly. This guy played so well, and that is one of the reasons why Cully started losing their momentum. Of course, if you just talk about the draft in general, picking up a Visage is a very situational kind of hero, and it didn't really favor them in the late 30-minute game. But as I looked at Cully's play, I didn't really think that they wanted to take this game late. They wanted to have a very early, clean game. But Reckoning Esports, I mean, that Axe pickup and the Wind Ranger pickup suiting their gameplay so well. I don't even think Dot was needed in most of the fights. I mean, he was just there, you know, like I was just cracking this joke with production that he was there to just carry the gem and, you know, kill Skyrath Mage. Apart from that, there was everybody else who was just doing everything for the team. And Cullies, on the other hand, I think the only thing that they really were not getting right was the team composition, because you know, you saw the early, if you just watch the early game, it was a Visage in the tri lane against the Slug. You have the Sladar, but the Nyx Assassin is in the safe lane. Now this kind of composition doesn't really work that well, and there are reasons why you send your carry in the safe lane. Maybe a pickup like a Chaos side also could have worked better for them in that choice, because we have seen Falling Story play some brilliant Dota. It was just not Cullies' day today, I think. And if we talk about the late game, I think there was another spike point that actually changed the game for Reckoning Esports. They picked up those BKBs, which were a complete counter to Cullies' draft, because all of them had that magic damage on them and they couldn't really use it. And that's where things just completely, it was like the nail on the coffin for Cullies, saying that, hey, you know what, we're not even going to go to an extreme late game. We're going to finish this game in 44 minutes, and with the 37k net worth lead at 41 minutes, Reckoning Esports just finished the game. And brilliant Dota played by them.
Alrighty then. Well, this sums up today's game, ladies and gentlemen, and also sums up today's day. We'll be back again tomorrow, same time, same place, with more Clash Royale, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and Dota 2. Because
we are the ESL India Premiership.
yes, and all of this has been brought to you by Omen by HP, HyperX, and Intel, and presented to you by Norton Gaming and ESL India. We'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.